Welcome to Focus on B, the video series where I spent about 20 or so minutes playing and talking about a game that I've got some thoughts on, and this is Jackrabbit, the original 1994 MS-DOS platformer, the full release, not the shareware version, even though that's probably what pretty much everyone played, but I'm going to be playing for you a couple of the episodes, well, a couple of them. I'm just going to be playing through linearly and seeing where we get. But what kind of game is this? Well, I mean, you can clearly tell it's a It is one of those screen crunch platformers, despite the fact that there's no real reason for it to have screen crunch, other than the fact that they really wanted to have these really nicely detailed sprites. And to be fair, they are nicely detailed. Jazz animates super well, but oh, look at the way it handles the transparency. That looks so good. Cliff, I mean, he didn't make this game necessarily. He designed it, but you know, I just imagine that Cliffy B just made every fucking thing in this game on his own. He didn't. He didn't make the art assets. He didn't even program it, but I think so. I know that someone else programmed the sequel. Ariane Breget, I think. I don't know. Weird names, but regardless, say like we're collecting floppy disks. And you know what's funny? That despite how technology has marched onwards, we still associate the floppy disk with saving, just like that is the de facto save icon. I find that really interesting. But regardless though, you know what I find odd about this game, and I mean it's kind of forgivable. I mean, you gotta understand that this game it's an MS-DOS platformer. It's a PC platformer from the time when the only games that were on PC were text adventures, Doom, I guess, yeah, FPSs, third-person sort of action games and cinematic platformers, but there weren't a lot of these kind of platformers, right? This was trying to be like Sonic, but on PC. Except, to be fair, Sonic does have a presence on... well, no, actually, I don't think there's a single Sonic game on MS-DOS. There are Sonic games on Windows 95, to be fair. But regardless of that, though, I think I can... How do I switch my weapons? With this button. There you go. And when I say the button, I literally mean the key, because this is DOSBox, right? Emulating an actual, you know, computer, so it's actually kind of accurate. But here's the thing about the way this game plays, and why I'm being so fucking tippy-toe right now. It is so jittery. Like, this game's speed is just through the fucking roof. There's a reason why there's this slow motion option, which... I don't think it's a great way to play the game. I mean, it makes it easier for sure, but I really wish there could have been like some kind of speed adjust, maybe like a medium setting, because this is way too slow, right? But this is, I think, a little bit too fast. Like, you cannot play this like how you would a Sonic game where you get really good and you can just roll through and know where all the enemies are. Here, even if you do that, you still run the risk of getting hit just because of the way Jazz controls. Like, you really want to be just tapping that right arrow key, just caressing it, just kind of left arrow key in this case. You can never truly go super fast in this game, which is why I feel that I feel like this game almost has a couple similar traits to something like Bubsy. You know, like Bubsy in 2D, that is. This is a million times better than that, but it has a similar issue in the sense that the character is too fast, and the game wants to kind of do a Sonic thing. It's, oh fuck, okay, now you can do it because you're invincible, obviously. So right now, yeah, even the music speeds up, right? When you get the speed shoes, I guess. This makes sense, but this is, funnily enough, kind of useless because it's just a linear sort of path where you're not really playing the game necessarily. It's almost incredible to me how my first fucking video game that I made, I would argue has better game feel than this, and it's all because of the speed. The character just drops like a fucking rock. You know how in like, ow, fuck, like how in Mega Man, specifically, I'm not sure if they ever fixed that necessarily, if they just made sure that it doesn't happen anymore, but basically, you remember Gutsman, right? Gutsman stage with the platforms that kind of open up and you fall through? Yeah, well, it feels like every single drop-off in this game is those platforms. Like, Jazz falls really quickly, or at least it feels like Jazz falls way too fast, right? And he moves so erratically that it's just, the whole game has this very kind of unpolished, jittery sort of not clunky. I don't think clunky is a good way to describe it necessarily, right? But, oh, okay. This is cool, though. We get these almost Sonic CD-esque special stages in 3D. They're actually pretty freaking neat. I think I should maybe at some point try to make a game like this, because I don't know, I really have always loved the sort of tank controls they have here, which are not, because they're not a hindrance. Because the problem with tank controls usually is that, for some reason, game developers back then used to think that it was possible to use tank controls to perform precise platforming. Here, they don't want that. They just want you to move left and right like this. So the controls are actually totally advantageous. In fact, I think if this had like more conventional, modern, I guess, controls, if that makes sense. And this was before Mario 64, keep in mind, so I'm not even sure if they could have had a reference for that, but still, yeah, I don't think it would have benefited from that. Also, I fucking hate the way Jazz is drawn here. Like, this game is the epitome of the art itself is well done, but oh my god, wait a second. I recognize this music. Is this LGR? I swear to god, half the fucking music that LGR uses is from this game, and Holiday Hair as well. In fact, I can load that up later. Maybe I won't, actually. I'm not sure. I just kind of want to play through these particular levels, but, yeah, look, what the fuck is this? It's just the enemies are so randomly designed, but they're still... they're endearing, right? It's just that my problem with Jazz's design specifically is that it's just a little bit too detailed, I guess. It has this, they're clearly trying to go for an old school Looney Tune design as opposed to a more Eastern anime character, like Sonic, like Alex Kidd, even like Mario or Pokemon, stuff like that. They're not doing that. They're going for a more Western design, even though this game was made in the Netherlands, I think. But still, I think that actually Jazz's sprites look pretty damn good. In fact, I think they have a lot more charm to them than even his 2D illustrations. I can't really call them sprites because they're way too high resolution for that. But in Jazz 2, I almost want to say he doesn't look as aesthetically appealing. Oh shit, I just realized I gotta fucking book it, because I completely forgot this game has a time limit because it came out in 1994, don't you know? Which means that every level has a time limit, and I completely forgot about that, and I have to fucking go. Because I'm guessing the developers did not assume that you would be taking your time quite as much as I am right now. So, shit, I literally only have 20 seconds. What am I... oh fuck. I did not take that into account at all. No. I'm probably not gonna make it to the end, right? I think I'm going to make it to the end. I have 10 seconds left, and I have no idea where the end even is. But maybe it's somewhere over here. Please. Oh, shit. 5. Yeah, okay, no. I think it's going to do one of them game over things, right? Oh. It didn't. Did you see that? The timer just reset. Like, it went back to 8 minutes. That was unexpected. Why did it do that? What was the point of that then? I was rushing my ass, like thinking, oh fuck, I'm gonna lose. But apparently that's not how it works. I had no idea. Also, you recognize these things? If you were born 20 years before I was, you would. I've never seen one of those, but I think it's called the Gravis Ultra... No, I'm thinking of the Gravis Ultra Sound. The Gravis gamepad? Was it even Gravis to begin with? I don't know. Basically, back then, before you could just plug a fucking Xbox 360 controller into your computer, they had all these third-party controllers, right? Which were... Well, none of them were even close to as good as an actual NES or Super Nintendo controller, but, you know, they got the job done because some people, even back then, still had... They had a hard time understanding how to play a platformer with a keyboard. It felt weird to them. I don't really get it. To me, this is just all I've ever known. But, yeah, this part of the level's really fucking ugly, not gonna lie. But still, you know, there's this really great fan-made project called, Jazz 2 Plus, I believe. And it has this custom cover art with this absolutely fantastic illustration of Jazz. I love the way it looks. It makes him look a little bit more Eastern, as in, he has that slicker, more clean... Not quite anime aesthetic, but it looks, again, less Western cartoon, less detailed, less rabbit-like, yes, but I think he's way better to look at. Like, I really wish that that someone fucking redid all the sprite work for Jazz 2 with that art direction in mind, because that looks so much better, honestly. It's so much cleaner, so much more charming, so much more appealing, right? I think Jazz just looks better as a character. You know, not to say that he looks ugly necessarily, no disrespect to the artist or anything, it's just that I don't personally, I've never vibed with this sort of, almost like a, because obviously he's going for a Bugs Bunny sort of thing, but even Bugs Bunny doesn't quite look like that, you know? In fact, the funny thing about the Jazz games is despite the fact that they're clearly for kids, right? There are two things that almost makes them feel like one of those Conker's Bad Fur Day type deals, where it's like, it looks like a kid's game, but it's really not a kid's game. No, it is a kid's game, but, well, there's two things. One, well, actually, there's a lot of things. Well, one, it's made by Epic Games, which we all know for fucking Gears of War and Unreal, and I'm not saying its name. I'm not saying what other game we know Epic Games for now. And they're all, well, actually, that game isn't M-rated, to be fair, but I mean, with the amount of mods, I assume, and some of the fucking taunts for some of the characters, I mean, they put Chun-Li in the fucking game. They put the dump truck Chun-Li in there. And, I mean, fuck. Anyway, they knew what they were doing with that, basically. Let's just say the guys modeling the character, the guys who designed the character 30 years ago, they knew what they were doing. They were like, yes. Let's dedicate a certain number of pixels to this part of the character. But anyway, that's besides the point, though. That's one thing, right? That's one reason as to why this game almost feels kind of like it's like if id Software were to make a cutesy platformer. It's like it's gonna feel like an M-rated game even if it's not. Number two, this game actually has a lot of references to like literally the shareware demo section of the game. Like you can actually still play the shareware levels. No, wait, that was for Jazz 2 though, but still, like in Jazz 2 you can play the unique shareware episode, and it's just a fucking illustration of Jazz as the Doom guy. Like, it's outright just references an M-rated game. That's one, that's two. And Free, the freaking female Jazz, what was her name? Princess whoever the fuck, I don't know. Wait a second, I just noticed that on the bottom of my screen, the timer, that was an 8 the whole time. I thought that was a 0. Oh, damn it. Pick a better font. Anyway, doesn't matter. She's got some, well, rabbit tits. So I guess that's another reason why this game doesn't feel quite like... so those are the three reasons why Jackrabbit doesn't necessarily feel kind of like a kid's game, even though it's supposed to be. And like just Jazz's design, especially Spaz's design too. It's just so overly detailed. Anyway, let's talk about the gameplay some more. I've spent too long talking about the superfluous stuff. Which, to be fair, superfluous or not, I think it genuinely makes a huge difference. But anyway, the gameplay, as I was saying, things move too quickly, and the character falls too fast. That's not a death sentence for the game. I mean, as you can clearly see, I'm playing through the game no problem, and I haven't even died once yet. Now, I am playing on easy mode, to be fair. This game has 4 difficulties. I think it was easy, medium, hard, and turbo, because of course, it's got to be turbo. Oh, that looks really nice, actually. Look, the way they're changing the palette, that's really nice. But anyway, but I don't really know what else there is. I guess, okay, we have the weapons, right? Thing is, they're pretty inconsequential. There's no, like, one weapon that's objectively better than all the rest for a particular situation. It's just kind of like you just collect ammo, and they add a nice bit of variety. It's kind of like the power-ups in Mario, but no, the power-ups in Mario definitely feel like they have a lot more identity of their own. Like, here it's like, well, you can shoot these bouncy things, or you can shoot straight, and it doesn't really make much of a difference, and it's not really inherently a problem. Also, the music is absolutely amazing. Like seriously, the track that plays here, for example, is so fucking cool and heavy. And again, I think it was Alexander Brennan. Did he do the music for... I know he did the music for the second game, but there's this really awesome version of, Carol of the Bells that plays in one of the, like, Holiday Hair 95, I think it was, and it's just so cool. You probably recognize it from LGR again. You know, the do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. It's absolutely fantastic. And the way it just arranges all these different melodies together, it's really cool. Though it never does the modulation. Like, it never does the, not the modulation, but it never does the dominant chord for some reason. That part, they never get to it. I'm not sure why, but I guess it wouldn't really make sense arrangement wise, but fuck, I love how there's no damage animation for whenever Jazz like hit something while on the hoverboard, and I also love how they actually repurpose the hoverboard animation for when he slides on a slippery surface in the game normally. That is really clever. But yeah, as for the level design, it's not as claustrophobic or as, yeah, I guess cramped as I once remember it being. Well, once remember. That's implying I have memories of this game, when I really don't. I played this game for the first time less than a year ago. You know, this is not one of those nostalgic games. Well, funnily enough, though, I remember seeing this thumbnail a while ago of, like, nostalgic Slav games, or was it, like, Slav gaming was different? So, and Jazz was there. Specifically the Jazz Jackrabbit 2 design. So, I guess that was a game that was popular here. I don't know. Like, all the rest of the games, like Counter-Strike and Fireboy and what, was that even in there? Well, it was a classic Flash game, right? We all played it. You don't have to be from a particular part of the world to remember that game. But those games, yeah, I get. But I don't remember any Jazz from my childhood, like, at all. I've only just played these games. And funnily enough, though, despite the fact that Epic have completely neglected the Unreal series, you can still get these games on GOG, and that's it, actually, on just GOG. You can't get them on Steam, I don't think. So that's neat. I wonder how long that'll last. Maybe it'll last quite a while. I mean, they still own the character, so yeah. Or maybe there's slightly more demand. No, there's no way. I mean, you can't argue that Unreal was the more popular series. It may have also fizzled away, but it was definitely, it had its time for a lot longer than Jazz. Basically, the reason why Jazz Jackrabbit never went to 3D, it never got that third entry, was because I think Jazz 2 was the first game that Gathering of Developers ever lost money on. And so obviously they didn't want to make that same mistake again. So what do? They just never agreed to finance and publish and support the third game. There are actually early versions of Jazz Free floating around, and they don't look too incomplete. I mean, it's not a complete game by any means, but what I mean is, it doesn't look like a totally broken, unpolished mess. I think it does have a pretty janky-looking control scheme, though, but you gotta understand, those were like PC devs trying to do like a 3D platformer. I mean, without directly ripping off Mario 64, to be fair, it looks very different. It had more of like an action-adventure thing going on. It kind of reminds me of Elder Scrolls Redguard for some reason. But just like the few good parts, because that game was fucking weird. It was like the Elder Scrolls trying to be like Tomb Raider or something. Because you gotta remember, like, there was a time when Tomb Raider was like the de facto, just the big gaming series. Now it's still a series. They still make them. In fact, this is going to show you how old this recording is by the time you're seeing this video, but they recently put out remasters of 4, 5, and 6, I think. It's literally what they call it. The games aren't called that, but that's what they called the package. Like, what was it? The Tomb Raider 4-6 or something like that. So basically, it's like what they did a little while ago with the first free games, right? With some shiny new graphics, and that's hopefully some bug fixes for some of the games. I don't know. I don't really know much about the Tomb Raider games outside of, you know, the original and the 2013 reboot, and that's it. That's all I know about them. I do know that they were milked to shit. I mean, no pun intended, right? Given Lara's design, but like, really, they were very much just, okay, make another one, make another one, make another one. And funnily enough, even gaming magazines at the time, because I love binge reading like old PC Zone magazines and stuff, even they were skeptical of the quality of the games that were coming out from the series, which is quite interesting to me, because usually that kind of stuff happens like, you know, in hindsight, it's like, oh, the game wasn't as good as you remember, or it was way better. But no, like, they were genuinely not super impressed by what they were seeing, but at the same time, they were kind of like, okay, well, they gotta keep putting out games, and at least they're not totally terrible. Oh my god, is this a boss fight? Wait. Ow, fuck. How do you... I'm gonna assume I just hit him and now he's dead. Huh. Oh, that was it. A sound effect would be nice, you know. Well, cool. Are we done? Thanks, Jazz. Jazz Adventures, you're just starting. Right now, the hideous, dorky Devon Shell is constructing twin mega battleships to blow up his... Okay. Oh, hey, there's rabbit tits. let's not keep her waiting. Okay. I guess... Yeah, why did it do that? Because, like, look, like, there you go. I can just select the rest of them. The game, like... Is that how it's supposed to be structured? I mean, we're gonna end the episode here regardless, but I mean, look, I can just... Oh, wait, was that the level that I just did? Hold on, I'm so fucking confused. I wasn't paying attention to half of what was going on. No, this is a new level. Whatever, we're not gonna play it, though. I mean, those are my thoughts on Jazz Jackrabbit. It's a really fun game. It's a really interesting timepiece, right? I think the character is awesome, and it's great that there's still a following for him despite there only being, like, 2 games, really. So regardless, this has been Focus on B, the video series where I spent about 20 or so minutes playing and talking about a game that I've got some thoughts on. Can you shut the fuck up, Jack? Because this has been Jazz Jackrabbit, 1994, MS-DOS.